Okay, let's dive into a word that it sounds really comforting, on a greeting card,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually incredibly difficult to live out. The word is sufficiency.
Right. Specifically, this whole idea that Jesus is enough.
Exactly. It sounds nice, but when you're staring down a deadline or a mortgage payment, does it actually, does it hold up?
That is the big question. And we're unpacking a message today from Pastor Darren at the House Church in Missouri.
And he opens with this paradox that really grabbed me. He talks about the work of God.
But he totally redefines what work even means.
Yeah, because usually you hear work in a religious context and you think, I don't know, effort, sweat equity.
Exactly. You default to a performance mindset.
Hmm.
Volunteering, moral discipline, checking all the right boxes.
Trying to earn your keep, basically.
But Darren says, no, that's not it at all. The work God asks for isn't labor, it's surrender.
And I love that he doesn't just leave that as some, fluffy theological theory.
No, he grounds it in his own resume.
Before he was in ministry, he worked at this place called Bulldog Security.
Which, from his description, sounds like the exact opposite of a sanctuary.
Right. He described it as a high-pressure, boiler room sales floor.
Total pressure cooker. Quotas, high stress, high turnover. Just the kind of place that eats people alive.
And if you're a person of faith in a setting like that, the temptation is usually to, police everyone.
Or to just build your own little holy bubble and hide.
Yeah. But Darren did something different. He called it subversive presence.
I love that phrase.
He didn't preach. He didn't lecture anyone about their language or their lifestyle. He just sold alarm systems.
But he did it while being the most non-anxious person in the room. And that's what people notice.
That's what made the impact. He talked about a manager who was struggling with alcohol. And what was it, 3 colleagues?
3 colleagues eventually went into full-time ministry, not because he gave them pamphlets.
But because they wanted the peace that he had.
He proved that influence doesn't come from being the loudest person, but from being the most secure.
And that word security, that's the perfect bridge to the next part.
It really is. He goes from bulldog security to facing a question about eternal security on his credentialing exam.
This is where it gets really interesting. He's taking the exam for the Assemblies of God, and he hits a notorious trap question.
Do you believe in eternal security?
And we should probably pause and explain the stakes here. This is the whole once saved, always saved debate.
Right. Can you lose your salvation, or are you locked in no matter what?
And in his denomination, the correct answer, the safe one, is no.
Because they worry if you say yes, you're giving people a license to sin.
So he's staring at this question, knowing the politically correct answer.
But he decides to be honest. He checks yes.
Just checks the box, no note, no asterisk, no explanation, just turns it in.
And predictably, that set off some alarm bells. The testing board actually called him.
They called him afterward.
Yep. They basically asked, hey, did you misread this, or do we have a theological problem here?
And his answer on that phone call is just brilliant.
It is. He told them, I am secure in the relationship, but I am not a prisoner.
Wow, that's the whole thing right there.
That is the key distinction. He used the metaphor of the vine and the branch. The tree is 100% committed to the branch.
It's never going to be the one to cut the connection.
Never. But the branch still has the autonomy to detach itself. It can choose not to abide.
So security isn't a legal status filed away in a cabinet. It's a living, breathing connection.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And that connection changes everything. It brings us to the yoke.
Right. My yoke is easy, which is confusing because a yoke it's heavy farm equipment.
Physically, yeah. But the ease isn't about the weight of the load. It's about who you are yoked to.
If you're pulling the plow alone, you're going to burn out.
And Darren contrasts that with the crowd in John 6, after Jesus feeds the 5,000.
The consumer Christianity critique.
That's it. They chase him across the lake, but not because they want him. They want the utility.
They want more free bread.
They saw the divine as a vending machine. And when they asked, what work must we do to get more of this?
The answer was just so simple.
Believe. Trust the provider, not the product. Stop chasing the stuff.
It really challenges you to look at your own motives. And that's where Darren ends things, with a scenario we should all sit with.
It is a total gut check.
He asks you to imagine, what if the divine showed up today, right now, at your cubicle, on the factory floor, in your truck?
And just said, follow me.
What would you drop everything?
It forces the question, doesn't it?
Are you in this for the relationship, or are you just hanging around for the free lunch?
It definitely makes you wonder where your security actually lies.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us.